They mocked the poor maid for imagining things about the billionaire's blind son, but when she insisted and forced them to test her discovery, the powerful family went pale. No one spoke, they just stared in shock. Subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and comment where in the world you're watching from, because now I'm going to tell you everything. The big house was always quiet in the morning. Too quiet. Oliver Thorne sat on the floor of his playroom, his small hands moving over the same wooden train set he touched every day. Click-clack, he said softly, feeling the grooves in the tracks. Click-clack. A door opened far down the hallway. Oliver's head tilted. He knew that sound. It was the heavy door to his father's study. The footsteps that followed were fast and solid. They stopped at the playroom entrance. Oliver, it was his father, Robert. His voice was a deep sound, like the big cello Oliver had heard once on the television. "Good morning, Father," Oliver said, turning his face toward the sound. "I have to go to the office early today. Important meetings all day. The staff will help you with your lunch." "Yes, Father." Robert Thorne stood in the doorway for another moment. Oliver heard him take a slow breath. "I spoke to a new doctor in Switzerland yesterday. He has some new ideas. We will talk about it soon." "Okay," Oliver said. He did not know what to say about doctors anymore. They all used the same quiet, sorry voices. The fast footsteps walked away. Oliver listened until they faded. He went back to his trains. He could feel the tiny wheels. He knew which car was the red one and which was the blue one, because Maria had told him many times. Red felt a little warmer in his mind. Blue felt cool, like the tile in the bathroom. He heard different footsteps. These were lighter, with a soft swish of fabric. They came straight into the room and stopped near him. A smell of clean laundry and lemons came with them. "Good morning, mijo," Maria said. Her voice was like a smile. "I see you found your trains." "Good morning, Maria," Oliver said, his face lifting toward her. "Your shoes are different. They don't squeak like the white ones." Maria let out a little laugh. "You are right. These are my quiet Sunday shoes. You hear everything, don't you?" Oliver shrugged. He just listened. It was normal. Maria sat on the floor beside him. "Today the sun is very bright. It is making a big yellow square on the carpet right next to you. And I brought your orange shirt. It is clean and soft." Oliver reached out. Maria placed the shirt in his hands. He brought it to his face. It felt warm from the dryer and smelled like flowers. This was his favorite shirt. The softness was always the same. It made him feel safe. "Thank you," he said. "Let's get you dressed," Maria said. She helped him take off his pajama top and put on the orange shirt. "There, now you are ready for the day." "Can we go to the kitchen?" Oliver asked. "Of course." Oliver stood up. He did not need to hold the wall in this part of the house. He knew there were 17 steps from his playroom to the big hallway. He knew the kitchen was to the right, past the table that always had cold, smooth flowers in a vase. He walked slowly, one hand slightly out. Maria walked beside him, her quiet shoes making almost no sound. In the kitchen, other people were working. Oliver could smell coffee and toast. He heard the clink of dishes. The talking stopped when he came in. "Good morning, Mr. Oliver," a man's voice said. It was Henry, the cook. His voice was always very gentle, like Oliver was made of glass. "Morning," Oliver said softly. He sat at the small table Maria had set for him. She put his plate in front of him. Pancakes, he could tell by the smell. She placed his fork in his hand. "Your green backpack is right here on the chair," she said, touching his arm so he knew where it was. He reached down and felt the familiar canvas. Inside were his things: a smooth stone, a plastic brick, a piece of silky ribbon. His things from his world. As he ate, he heard the other staff whispering. He heard his name. He heard the word poor and the word blind. He kept eating. He was used to it. Their voices were full of a heavy feeling that made the air feel thick. Only Maria's voice was different. It was light. It was just for him. When he finished, she took his plate. There was a sudden loud crash, a metal pan falling in the sink. Oliver flinched. His head snapped perfectly toward the loud noise. "Oh, clumsy me," Henry said, his voice loud and flustered. "It is okay, Henry," Maria said, but her voice had changed. It was thoughtful, like when she was trying to solve a puzzle. Oliver heard her come back to the table. He felt her looking at him. Not with her eyes, he could not see that, but he could feel her attention, like a warm spot on his skin. "Oliver," she said, her voice quiet, "when that pan fell, did it scare you?" It was loud, Oliver said, but you turned right toward it. How did you know where the sound came from? Oliver thought about it. I just know. My ears tell my head where to turn. Maria was silent for a long moment. Oliver heard her pick up his green backpack and place it gently in his lap. Here you go, she said, but her mind seemed far away. Oliver held his backpack close, wondering what the quiet meant. Maria could not stop thinking about it. All that day, as she dusted the big living room, her mind kept going back to the kitchen. Oliver had turned his head right toward that pan. Not just a jump, he knew exactly where it was. Later, she was putting fresh towels in the bathroom near his playroom. Oliver was on the floor with his Lego bricks. Maria walked in quietly. Her soft shoes made no sound on the thick carpet. She watched him. He was humming his low tune, feeling the shapes of the bricks with his fingertips. He was building something tall. Maria moved. She stepped slowly to his left side, behind him. She did not say a word. She held her breath. Oliver stopped humming. His small shoulders tensed. He turned his head just a little toward where she stood. He did not turn all the way, but he knew she was there. "Maria?" he asked, his voice unsure. "Yes, mijo, it's me," she said quickly, her heart beating fast. "I was just checking if you needed more bricks." "I'm okay," he said, turning back to his tower. Maria finished her work, but her thoughts were racing. That night, after Oliver was in bed, she found Robert Thorne in his office. The door was open. He was looking at papers on his big desk. "Mr. Thorne." "Sir?" Maria said, standing in the doorway. Robert looked up. He did not smile. "Yes, Maria, what is it?" "It's about Oliver." Robert put his pen down. He looked tired. "The new doctor from Switzerland will call next week. We have an appointment for next month." "No, sir. It's not about a new doctor. It's something I have seen." Maria took a small step into the room. "Oliver. He knows things. He turns toward loud sounds. He knew I was behind him today, and I was completely quiet. But he does not react to a hand in front of his face. It is not sight, but it is something else. A sense." Robert stared at her. He leaned back in his chair. "The best doctors in Los Angeles and New York have examined him. They all say the same thing. His optic nerves are damaged. He is blind. But they looked at his eyes, sir," Maria said, her voice gentle but firm. What if the problem is not his eyes? What if it is somewhere else?" "Somewhere else?" Robert repeated. He let out a short breath. It was not a laugh, but it was close. "Maria, you are a very good maid. You are kind to my son, but you are not a doctor." "I know I'm not a doctor," Maria said. She felt her face get warm. "But I am with him every day. I see the small things. He maps the house in his mind. He never bumps into the table by the window because he knows it is there." "How does he know?" "He memorized it. He's a smart boy," Robert said. He picked up his pen again, a sign he was done talking. "But he knows when things move. Last week, the big chair in the library was moved for cleaning. He walked to where it usually is and his hand touched air. He got very upset. He said the room was wrong. How did he know the chair was gone if he only memorized it?" Robert was quiet for a moment. He adjusted the cufflink on his sleeve. He heard the difference, the echo. "Maybe," Maria said. "But what if it is more? What if his brain is getting information, just not as pictures? My brother in El Paso, the teacher said he could not learn, but he could fix any engine. He just learned in a different way. Maybe Oliver sees in a different way." Robert stood up. His voice became cool. "I appreciate your concern, Maria, truly. But we have spent millions of dollars on experts. We have the medical reports. Oliver is blind. That is his reality. Your job is to care for him, not to diagnose him. Please, go back to your duties." Maria felt the words like a door closing. She nodded, looking down at the floor. "Yes, sir." She left the office. The hallway felt very long and very cold. She passed Mrs. Welch, the head house manager. "Was Mr. Thorne needing something?" Mrs. Welch asked, her tone sharp. "No, it was nothing," Maria said softly. "I heard you talking about the boy," Mrs. Welch said, folding her arms. "Let the doctors and his father handle it, dear. You are here to clean. Do not get ideas above your station. It only causes trouble." Maria just walked away. She went to the small room where the cleaning supplies were kept. She closed the door and leaned against it. She felt small and foolish, but then she thought of Oliver's face. She thought of him turning his head toward the sound of the pan. She thought of the quiet certainty in his voice when he said, "I just know." She took a deep breath. She pulled the embroidered handkerchief from her pocket and wiped her hands. She was just a maid, but she was also the only one who was watching, really watching. She would watch even closer. She needed to be sure. For Oliver's sake, she had to be sure. Maria began to write things down. She kept a small notepad in her apron pocket. Every time Oliver did something that made her wonder, she wrote it. Monday. Oliver knew I was at the door before I knocked. He said, "Come in, Maria." Wednesday. He told Henry the toast was burning before the smoke alarm went off. He smelled it first. Friday. A new vase of flowers was on the hall table. Oliver walked past and said, "The pink ones are tall. The roses were pink. I never told him." She needed more than notes. She needed someone to listen. One evening, Robert Thorne was home for dinner. Oliver was already in bed. Maria waited until Robert was alone in the dining room, drinking his coffee. "Sir," she said, entering quietly, "may I speak with you?" Robert sighed. "If this is about Oliver's special sense again, Maria, I do not have the energy." "It is," she said. She did not move. "I have been writing down what I see, every day, for 3 weeks. Please, just look." She held out her small notepad. Robert did not take it. "I do not need to look. I trust the experts." "The experts are not here." Maria's voice was louder than she meant it to be. She took a breath. "They see him for 1 hour in a white room. I am here all day, every day. He is my whole job. Please, one more doctor, just one. A different kind, not an eye doctor, a brain doctor." Robert's face was tight. "A neurologist? We have seen 3. One more," Maria pleaded. Her hands were clasped so tight they hurt. "Take him to one more, and let me come. Let me tell the doctor what I have seen. If that doctor says I am wrong, I will never mention it again. I promise." Robert looked at her. He saw the tired hope in her eyes. He was a man used to people asking him for money, for favors. This was different. This was a maid begging him to listen about his own son. He was silent for a long time. He looked out the dark window. "Fine," he said, the words short and sharp. "One more appointment. You will come. You will say your piece, and then we will be done with this. Do you understand?" "Yes, sir," Maria said, her heart leaping. "Thank you." The appointment was in Pasadena on a Tuesday morning. The clinic was not like the big hospitals they usually visited. It was a quiet, low building with a garden. The doctor's name was Alistair Evans. He was a younger man with a kind, curious face. They sat in his office. Oliver sat between Maria and his father, holding his green backpack. "So," Dr. Evans said, looking at Maria, "Mr. Thorne tells me you have some observations." Maria nodded. She was nervous, but she opened her notepad. She talked about the falling pan. She talked about Oliver knowing she was behind him. She read her notes about the flowers and the burning toast. Her voice was soft but clear. Dr. Evans listened. He did not look at Robert. He did not look at his watch. He watched Maria, and then he watched Oliver, who was sitting very still. When she finished, Dr. Evans turned to Oliver. "Oliver, can you tell me, when Maria was behind you, how did you know she was there?" Oliver thought. "The air changed," he said quietly. "The air changed," Dr. Evans repeated. "Can you tell me how?" "It got softer. The sounds in the room got a little different." "Doctor." Evans nodded slowly. He turned to Robert. "The eyes are only one part of seeing. The brain is the other part. It is possible for the eyes to work, but for the brain to have trouble understanding the signal. Or, in very rare cases, for the brain to find another way to process the information." Robert shifted in his chair. "His eyes are damaged. The scans show it." "They show damage to the optic nerves," Dr. Evans agreed. "But they do not show what the brain is doing with the information it does receive. I would like to do a different kind of scan. It looks at brain activity, not eye structure." Robert was quiet. He had agreed to this. "How long will it take?" "A few hours. Oliver will need to lie very still." "I will stay with him," Maria said immediately. Robert gave a single nod. "Do it." The scan room was cold and noisy. Oliver was brave. He lay on the hard bed, and Maria held his hand through the whole thing. "Think about your train set," she whispered to him. "Think about the click-clack sound." Afterward, Dr. Evans said the results would take a few days. They drove back to the mansion in silence. Robert stared out the car window. Maria held Oliver's hand in the back seat. She had done all she could. Now they had to wait. 3 days later, Dr. Evans came to the mansion. He asked to speak with Robert Thorne in private. Robert led him to the study. Maria saw them go in. Her hands felt cold. She wiped the same spot on the kitchen counter over and over. A few minutes later, Robert opened the study door. His face had no color. "Maria," he said. His voice sounded strange. "Come in. Bring Oliver." Maria took Oliver's hand. They walked into the big study. Oliver held his green backpack tight to his chest. "Sit down, please," Dr. Evans said. He looked at Maria, then at Robert, then at Oliver. He had a large envelope in his hands. Robert sat behind his desk. He did not speak. "Okay," Dr. Evans began. He took a breath. "I have the results from the brain scans. They are very clear. Oliver, your eyes are perfectly healthy." The room was silent. Maria blinked. She did not understand. "What?" Robert said the word like a cough. "His eyes," Dr. Evans repeated slowly. "They work exactly as they should. The structures are intact. The optic nerves show some minor scarring, but nothing that should cause blindness. His eyes are taking in light and images right now." Robert stood up. He put his hands on the desk. "That is impossible. We have scans from New York, from Johns Hopkins. They all said the damage was severe, permanent." "They were looking at the wrong thing," Dr. Evans said gently but firmly. "The problem is not in his eyes. It is here." He tapped his own forehead. "In his brain. There is a very rare condition. The signals from his eyes, the pictures, they travel to the brain. But then they hit a block, a closed door. His brain receives the information, but his conscious mind, the part that thinks, 'I see,' cannot access it." Maria's hand went to her mouth. She looked at Oliver, who was listening quietly, his head tilted. "So, he is not blind?" Robert's voice was a whisper. "He is blind in the way we normally think of it, Doctor," Evans said. "He does not consciously see, but his brain is seeing. It is processing visual information on a level he cannot use. It is like having a library full of books locked in a room you have no key for." Robert made a small choking sound. He sank back into his chair. He stared at Oliver. All this time, all the doctors, the tests, the money. He put his face in his hands. His eyes were fine. "Yes," Dr. Evans said. The guilt came over Robert's face like a shadow. Maria could see it. His shoulders slumped. He looked old. Maria felt tears in her eyes. They were not sad tears. They were tears of a fierce, shaking relief. She was right. She had seen it. She knelt down in front of Oliver. "Oliver," she said softly, "do you understand? Your eyes work. They are okay." Oliver reached out and touched her cheek. He felt the wetness there. "Why are you crying, Maria?" "Because I am happy," she whispered. "But I still cannot see," Oliver said. His voice was confused. "No, mijo," Maria said. "But now we know why. And knowing why is the first step." Robert looked up. His eyes were red. A closed door in his brain. "Can it be opened?" Dr. Evans was silent for a moment. "There is no standard key, no common surgery. This is a frontier. But because his brain is clearly receiving the information, there might be a way to try to build a new path, to bypass the block." Robert's gaze sharpened. The businessman in him pushed through the shock. A surgery. It would be experimental. It has never been done for this specific condition. There would be significant risk. "What kind of risk?" Maria asked, still holding Oliver's hand. "It could fail. It could cause damage, seizures, cognitive problems, or it could do nothing at all." Robert looked at his son. Oliver's deep blue eyes were unfocused, looking toward the sound of Maria's voice. Those eyes worked. They had always worked. The thought was a physical pain in Robert's chest. "We have to try," Robert said. His voice was raw. "We have to try and open that door." "Tell me everything about this surgery," Robert Thorne said. His voice was different now. It was focused, sharp. The shock was hardening into a plan. What would it involve? How soon can we do it? Dr. Evans remained calm. Mr. Thorne, we must slow down. This is not a simple decision. The risks I mentioned are very real. We could cause harm. We need to think carefully. What is there to think about? Robert stood and began to pace. You said his brain sees. You said there is a door. We have to open it. Money is not an object. Name your price. It is not about money, Dr. Evans said. It is about Oliver's safety, his quality of life. He has adapted to his world. This surgery could change everything, and not necessarily for the better. Maria listened, her arm around Oliver's shoulders. She felt the weight of the choice. Dr. Evans, she said, if his brain sees, is there proof? More proof than the scans? What do you mean? Dr. Evans asked. I mean something we can see with our own eyes, Maria said. An idea was forming. She looked at Oliver. Oliver, honey, do you remember your drawing things? The crayons and the big paper? Oliver nodded. In my bottom drawer. Can we go get them? Maria asked. Robert stopped pacing. What is this about? We are talking about brain surgery. Please, Maria said, looking first at Robert, then at Dr. Evans. Just give me 5 minutes. They went to Oliver's room. Maria pulled out the large sheet of paper and the box of crayons from his drawer. She cleared a space on the floor. Oliver, she said, guiding him to sit. I want you to draw your room for me. Draw the big things, just like you do sometimes. Oliver felt for the paper. He chose a crayon. He began to draw. He did not hesitate. His hand moved in slow, confident lines. He drew the large square of his bed. He drew the tall rectangle of his bookshelf. He drew the circle of his rug. He even drew the small square of his window. He could not see any of these things, but he drew their shapes perfectly on the paper. The proportions were correct. The placement on the page matched the layout of the room. Robert and Dr. Evans watched in silence. Robert's breath caught in his throat. Dr. Evans leaned closer, his eyes wide. How is he doing this? Robert whispered. His brain knows the shape of his world, Dr. Evans said, awe in his voice. It has been mapping it visually all along. This is the proof. His brain is not just getting signals, it is creating a perfect spatial map. Oliver put down the crayon. Is that okay? He asked. Maria had tears in her eyes again. It is perfect, mijo. It is amazing. She held up the drawing for the men to see. Robert looked from the drawing to his son's face. The last of his doubt vanished. The proof was right there, in crayon. His son's mind was a locked treasure chest. They had to find the key. The surgery, Robert said to Dr. Evans, his voice firm. You said it was risky, but look at this. His brain is working. It is seeing. It is drawing. It wants to get out. We have to help it. We have to try. Dr. Evans looked at the drawing for a long time. He looked at Oliver's calm, waiting face. Finally, he nodded. It is a strong indicator. It shows his visual cortex is highly active and organized. It does make him a better candidate. He took a deep breath. I will schedule the procedure. We will do it in 2 weeks. The word "G's" hung in the air. It felt huge and scary. Maria hugged Oliver close. She felt his small heart beating. She had wanted the truth, and now they had it. She had wanted a chance, and now they had one. But the fear was real. She was not just a maid watching anymore. She was part of the decision. She held on to Oliver, praying it was the right one. The 2 weeks passed too quickly. The morning of the surgery was gray and quiet. Oliver wore his soft orange shirt and held his green backpack. Will I be asleep the whole time? Oliver asked Maria as she helped him into the car. Yes, mijo, the whole time. You will not feel a thing, she said, smoothing his hair. Will you be there when I wake up? I will be right there, Maria promised. Robert Thorne drove in silence. His knuckles were white on the steering wheel. He kept adjusting his cufflinks, a nervous habit. At the hospital in Pasadena, everything was bright and clean. They went to a private room. A nurse came to get Oliver ready. Oliver's small hand clutched Maria's. It is time to say goodbye for now, the nurse said kindly. We will take good care of him. Robert knelt down. He put his hands on Oliver's shoulders. Be brave, son. I will be waiting right here. Oliver nodded, his face pale. He reached out and Robert hugged him, a tight, quick hug. Then Oliver turned and buried his face in Maria's blue polo shirt. "I am scared," he whispered, so only she could hear. "I know," Maria whispered back, holding him. "It is okay to be scared. But your brain is so strong, it already knows how to see. Today the doctors are just helping it find the way out. You just take a long nap. We will be here when you wake up." They wheeled Oliver away. Maria and Robert were led to a small private waiting room. There was a sofa, a chair, and a clock on the wall. Robert did not sit. He stood by the window looking out at nothing. Maria sat on the sofa. She took her grandmother's handkerchief from her pocket and held it tight. An hour passed. Then 2. A nurse came in once to say everything was going as expected. Robert just nodded. Maria tried to pray. She tried to think of good things, but her mind kept imagining the inside of the operating room, the bright lights, the delicate work on Oliver's small brain. "He drew that picture," Robert said suddenly, his back still to her. "The room. Perfectly." "Yes," Maria said. "All those years, I bought him toys he could not see. I hired doctors who looked at the wrong thing." His voice was flat. "I was solving the wrong problem." "You were trying," Maria said softly. "You did not know." "I should have known," Robert said. He turned around. His eyes were haunted. A father should know his own child. There was nothing Maria could say to that. 5 hours passed. 6. The waiting was a heavy weight. Robert paced. Maria watched the clock. The minute hand moved so slowly. 7 hours. 8. Robert stopped pacing. He sat in the chair, his head in his hands. "What if we made a mistake?" he asked the floor. "What if I was so eager to fix my guilt that I hurt him?" Maria looked at him. For the first time, he did not look like a billionaire. He just looked like a tired, scared father. "We did not make a mistake," she said with more certainty than she felt. "We are giving him a chance. That is all we can do." 9 hours. 10 hours. The door opened. Dr. Evans walked in. He looked exhausted. His surgical scrubs were rumpled. Robert and Maria stood up quickly. "The surgery is complete," Dr. Evans said. "Oliver is in recovery." "Is he okay?" Robert's question was a gasp. "He came through the procedure as well as we could have hoped. We were able to create the new neural pathway. The structure is in place." "So it worked?" Robert asked, a desperate hope in his voice. Dr. Evans held up a hand. "We do not know that yet. The brain must heal. It must learn to use this new pathway. We will not know if sight is possible for several weeks. The bandages must stay on to protect him and to let his brain adjust without visual overload." Robert sank back into the chair, a hand over his eyes. "Can we see him?" Maria asked. "Soon. He is still asleep. He will be groggy and in some pain. But yes, you can sit with him." When they were allowed in, Oliver looked very small in the big hospital bed. His head was wrapped in white bandages. Tubes and wires connected him to beeping machines. Maria pulled a chair close and took his limp hand. Robert stood at the foot of the bed, just staring. The hard part was over. Now they had to wait again. The real wait. To see if the door they tried to open would actually swing wide. The bandages stayed on for 4 weeks. Oliver came home from the hospital. He was quiet. He had headaches. He spent most of his time in his room, listening to Maria's voice or the quiet hum of his toys. Finally, Dr. Evans came to the mansion. It was time. Oliver sat on the edge of his bed. He wore his favorite orange shirt. Maria stood on one side of him, Robert on the other. Dr. Evans knelt in front of him. "Okay, Oliver," Dr. Evans said, his voice calm. "Today we take the bandages off. Your eyes have been in the dark for a long time. The light will feel very bright at first. It might be confusing. Things might not look sharp right away. That is normal. Do you understand?" "Yes," Oliver whispered. He held Maria's hand tightly. "I am going to start cutting the bandages," Dr. Evans said. He took a small pair of scissors. There was a soft snipping sound. The outer layers fell away. Maria held her breath. Robert did not move. Dr. Evans carefully unwound the last of the white gauze. Underneath were soft patches over Oliver's eyes. "Are you ready?" Dr. Evans asked. Oliver gave a small nod. Dr. Evans gently lifted the pads from Oliver's eyes. Oliver kept his eyes closed. His eyelids fluttered. "Take your time," Maria whispered. Slowly, Oliver opened his eyes. He blinked. He blinked again, very fast. He squeezed his eyes shut and then opened them wide. "It is bright," he said, his voice full of wonder. "What do you see, Oliver?" Dr. Evans asked softly. "Light and colors. Blurry colors." Oliver turned his head slowly. He looked at the blur of the window. He looked at the blur of his bookshelf. Everything was a soft, smeared shape. Then his gaze moved. It stopped on Maria, who was standing close to him. He stared. His blinking slowed. "Maria," he said. "Yes, mijo?" "Your shirt," Oliver said. He reached out a hand, his fingers trembling. He did not touch her. He just pointed. "It is blue." Maria's hand flew to her mouth. A sob broke from her chest. "Yes," she cried, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Yes, it is blue." Oliver looked down at his own chest. He touched the fabric of his shirt. He looked at his hand on the shirt. He looked back up at Maria's shirt. "My shirt is not blue." "No," Maria laughed through her tears. "Your shirt is orange. You always loved the feel of it. Now you can see its color." "Orange," Oliver repeated. He said the word like it was magic. He looked around the room again, his head moving slowly. "The blanket is green, the wall is white." He was naming the colors he had only heard in stories. He looked at Robert. He stared at his father's face for the first time. He saw the sharp lines, the gray hair, the tears in his eyes. "Father," Oliver said, in stories. He looked at Robert. He stared at his father's face for the first time. He saw the sharp lines, the gray hair, the tears in his eyes. "Father," Oliver said. Robert could not speak. He knelt down in front of his son. He put his hands on Oliver's small shoulders. He just looked at him, and his whole body shook with quiet tears. Oliver looked back at Maria. He studied her face, her kind brown eyes, her dark hair, her smile. He reached out and touched her cheek, wiping a tear with his thumb. "You look like your voice," he said. Maria laughed and cried at the same time. She pulled him into a careful, gentle hug. "Oh, Oliver, welcome to the world of light." Oliver hugged her back. Over her shoulder, his newly seeing eyes kept moving, taking in the shapes of his room, the colors of his life. It was a flood of information. It was overwhelming. But the first thing he had seen clearly, the thing he had anchored to, was the color blue on the woman who had never stopped believing in him. Names of colors, red like the apple, green like the grass, yellow like the sun. But one afternoon, Maria found him sitting on his bed with his eyes squeezed shut. His hands were pressed over them. "Oliver, what is wrong?" she asked, sitting next to him. "It is too much," he whispered. "When I close my eyes, it is not dark." "What do you mean?" "I see flashes, like light from a window, but there is no window. And I hear the fridge humming downstairs, and it is not just a sound. It is a blue wave in the dark." He opened his eyes. They were scared. "My old way of knowing things. It is still there, but it is loud now. It has colors and shapes. It mixes up with what I see for real. I do not know what is which." Maria felt a chill. She took his hand. "This is your special sense, the one you always had. The surgery did not take it away. It might have made it stronger." "I do not want it stronger," Oliver said, his voice trembling. "I want it quiet. I want to see normal things like you do." Just then, Robert walked into the room. He was smiling. He held a big, colorful box. "Oliver, look what I had delivered. It is a full set of paints, hundreds of colors. Now you can paint anything you see." Oliver looked at the big box. He saw a swirl of colors from the paints, but he also saw a pulsing, sharp energy coming from his father's excited face. It was too much. He flinched and looked away. Robert's smile faded. "What's the matter? Don't you like it?" "He is tired, sir," Maria said quickly, putting an arm around Oliver. Of course," Robert said, putting the box down. He was still smiling, but it was forced. "I have wonderful news. I just got off the phone with Dr. Evans. I am giving his clinic a lot of money. We are starting a research foundation to help other children like you. We will call it the Thorn Vision Foundation. Isn't that great?" Oliver just nodded. He kept his eyes on his own hands. "This will be my focus now," Robert said, his voice full of energy. "I am going to fix this for everyone." He leaned down and kissed the top of Oliver's head. "I have to go. meetings with lawyers all afternoon. He left the room, his footsteps quick and happy. Oliver listened to the footsteps fade. He looked at Maria. He is happy because I can see. Yes, Maria said. But he does not see me, Oliver said softly. What do you mean, mijo? He does not see that I am confused. He does not see that the flashes scare me. He only sees that the surgery worked. He sees a problem he can fix with money. Oliver's new, clear blue eyes filled with tears. I miss when it was just dark and quiet. I knew that world. Maria's heart broke. She pulled him close. He was right. Robert was so focused on the big victory, he was missing the small, scared boy in the middle of it. That night, Oliver had a bad moment. He was brushing his teeth, looking at his own face in the mirror. A strange, wonderful thing. Then he closed his eyes to rinse his mouth. A sudden bright flash of silver light exploded behind his eyelids. It came with the sound of the air conditioner turning on downstairs. He cried out and dropped his cup. Maria was there in a second. He was shaking, his hands over his eyes. It was so bright and loud, he sobbed. She held him until the shaking stopped. She rocked him like a much younger child. Robert was away at a dinner for the new foundation. The big, cold house felt emptier than ever. Maria sat with Oliver until he fell asleep. She watched his face, so peaceful in sleep. The surgery had opened a door to light, but it had also opened a door to a storm of senses he did not know how to navigate. And the person who should have been his guide was already miles away, trying to save the world, while his son was lost in his own new one. The morning after his bad night, Oliver was afraid to open his eyes. Maria sat with him. We will go slow, she promised. We will make it a game. First, open your eyes and tell me one thing you really see. Just one. Oliver opened his eyes. He looked at her. Your blue shirt. Good. Now close them and tell me what you sense. Not what you see, what you sense. Oliver closed his eyes tight, his face scrunched in concentration. The clock, he whispered. It is ticking in a small golden dot, and the fan is a silver blur. Okay, Maria said softly. Now open them. The clock is on the wall. It is black. The fan is white. The golden dot and the silver blur are your special sense. They are real too, but they are a different kind of real. They are for feeling the energy of things, not for looking at them. It is hard to tell them apart, Oliver said. We will practice every day, Maria said, like learning a new language. And they did. For 1 week, Maria worked with him. She taught him to name the colors he saw with his eyes. She taught him to describe the flashes and patterns he sensed with his mind as energy pictures. When the flashes scared him, she had him hold her hand and describe them out loud. Giving them words made them less frightening. Robert was rarely home. He was at his office or at meetings for the Thorn Vision Foundation. New toys arrived at the house every other day. A remote control car, a giant stuffed bear, a telescope. Oliver looked at the pile of unopened boxes in the corner of his room. Why does he send these? He wants to make you happy, Maria said. But he does not come, Oliver said. His voice was not angry. It was sad. The car makes a buzzing sound that hurts my ears. The bear is too big. He does not know that. One evening, Robert came home early. He looked pleased. He found Maria and Oliver in the playroom. Oliver was sorting his old Lego bricks by shape, using his hands and his eyes together. Oliver, how was my boy? Robert said, walking in. Oliver flinched at the loud, sudden voice. A flash of red energy popped behind his eyes. He squeezed them shut for a second. I am okay, Oliver said quietly, opening his eyes. Look at you, seeing everything, Robert said. He knelt down. I have amazing news. The foundation has its first big donor. We are going to help so many people. That is good, Oliver said. He did not look up from his bricks. Robert's smile wavered. He looked at Maria. Is he all right? Maria saw her chance. Sir, can I speak with you in the hall? Once they were outside the room, Maria spoke softly. He is struggling. The new sense, the flashes, they overwhelm him. He is learning, but it is very hard for him. He misses you. He needs you to be here, not just to send toys. Robert's face clouded. I am here for him. I am building a future for him. This foundation, it is because of him. It is his legacy. He is 7 years old, Maria said gently. He does not need a legacy. He needs his father to sit with him while he is scared. Robert shook his head, as if she was speaking a language he did not understand. He can see now. The problem is solved. The rest is just adjustment. You are helping him adjust. That is what I pay you for. The word stung. Maria took a breath. It is more than adjustment. He is lonely. He has you, Robert said. He checked his watch. I have a conference call with Zurich in 5 minutes. Please just keep doing what you are doing. You are excellent with him. He walked away, back toward his office. Maria stood in the hallway, feeling a hollow ache. She looked back into the playroom. Oliver was holding a red Lego brick, staring at the doorway where his father had been. He was not sorting anymore. He was just sitting, alone in a room full of light he never asked for. Maria found a letter from her mother in her room. It was a reminder of her other life, the one in El Paso with warm kitchens and loud family dinners. Her mother asked when she was coming home. Maria held the letter and looked around her small maid's quarters. Her job here was done. Oliver could see. She could go home. But the thought made her chest feel tight. She went to find Oliver. He was in the garden, sitting very still on a bench. He had his eyes closed, but his face was calm. What are you doing, mijo? Maria asked, sitting beside him. Listening to the tree, Oliver said. With my eyes closed, it is a tall, green hum. With my eyes open, it is a tree with leaves. I am putting them together. He opened his eyes and looked at her. It is less scary when I do that. Maria smiled. You are so brave. Are you going to leave? Oliver asked suddenly. His clear blue eyes looked right into hers. The question surprised her. What makes you ask that? I heard Mrs. Welch say you would go now. She said your job was finished. Oliver's voice was small. My old world is gone. If you leave, my new world will be empty. Maria felt tears prick her eyes. He had put it so simply. Just then, Robert stepped into the garden. He looked uneasy. Maria, may I speak with you? She followed him to his study. He did not sit behind his desk. He stood facing her. Mrs. Welch tells me you may be considering a return to Texas, he said. I have been thinking about it, Maria admitted. Robert nodded. He looked down at his hands. I have been a fool. I thought fixing his sight fixed everything. I thought throwing money at a foundation was being a father. He looked up at her. But you were right. He is lost, and I do not know how to help him. I only know how to hire people. Maria waited. I am asking you to stay, Robert said. His voice was raw. Not as a maid, not even as a nanny. As his guide, as the person who understands him. I will pay you triple your salary. You can have any title you want, but I am asking you to stay because he needs you, and I think I need you to help me learn how to be his father. Maria was silent for a long moment. It is not about the money, Mr. Thorne. I know, he said quickly. I know it is not. It is about Oliver. Please. Maria thought of her mother's letter. She thought of the quiet streets of El Paso. Then she thought of Oliver's hand in hers and his voice saying, My new world will be empty. I want to see him, she said. They walked back to the garden together. Oliver was still on the bench. He watched them approach. Maria sat next to him. Oliver, your father has asked me to stay, to help you with your new sense, to help you learn about the seeing world. But I want to know what you want. Oliver did not hesitate. He reached out and took her hand. He looked at their joined hands, then up at her face. I want you to stay, he said. Please. Maria looked at his hopeful face. She looked at Robert, who was watching them, his own face full of a hesitant hope. Okay, Maria said, squeezing Oliver's hand. I will stay. A small, real smile touched Robert's lips. Thank you, he said. It was the simplest, truest thing he had said in years. That evening, the three of them ate dinner together at the kitchen table. It was not a formal dinner in the dining room. It was sandwiches and soup. Oliver told his father about the green hum of the tree. Robert listened. He really listened. Later, Maria tucked Oliver into bed. He looked around his room, his eyes taking in the familiar shapes he once only knew by touch. It is a lot, he said softly. The colors, the flashes. But it is not so scary when you are here. I will always be here, Maria promised. She turned off the light. In the soft dark, Oliver's world was no longer just silence. It was a tapestry of seen colors and sensed energies. It was complicated and sometimes too bright, but he was not alone in it. He had Maria to help him understand the light, and he had a father who was finally learning to see him. It was not a normal family, but it was their family, and for the first time, it felt like a home.